A viewer just reminded me of a punch count video I made after Mayweather vs. Ortiz. That was 14 years ago, where I proved how Ortiz was dominating Mayweather in the early stages of that fight, and then, well, you know what happened. Ortiz wasn't just winning the fight, he was beating Mayweather up in spots. But that's not the fight anybody remembers, right? The narrative was that Mayweather was dominating and just knocked him out. People were watching my punch count video, watching Mayweather getting battered and telling me how I don't know anything about boxing. Something was terribly wrong with people back then, and I'm afraid things have only gotten worse. The left are sanctifying crackheads and the right are responding by worshipping crystal fascists. And now they're eliminating each other in broad daylight, while claiming how morally correct and righteous they are. People have lost their minds. No one is seemingly able to think or see straight. You could put the truth right in their faces and they'll refuse to accept it, but I've been talking about this for probably 10 years now across different channels, and frankly, I'm tired of it. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Save yourself. Well, let's lighten things up a little bit and just talk boxing, huh?
Admit it. It's kind of like say first round. I'm telling you, it's gonna take a pace. Understand? If you start, we're applauding. In the Crawford, you can't well so far. Going up and down to the body, even if they're was around. If he isn't, they're using that up his as competitive as an doing. Now he's able to. There's Crawford fight. You know what? I didn't think.
You just saw all of Terence Crawford's scoring jabs from the Madrimov fight. 29 out of 223 for a whopping 13% connect rate. CompuBox gave him 40, which I guess I could understand in the heat of the battle, people seeing things. Fair enough, they don't have slow motion replay like I do. And if they gave Madrimov the same sort of benefit of the doubt, then I guess it's all fair, right? Be that as it may, 19 of these 29 jabs hit Madrimov's gloves first, and none of them looked really powerful, even though maybe 6 of them snapped his head back. I made a whole film study explaining why these jabs were so weak, and I'm going to show you yet another reason. I'm going to show you something about Terence Crawford that nobody else will tell you. And even though some of it is going to be purely theoretical, it's going to make sense to you, and it's going to be about Terence and his funny gloves. And we're going to show you Terence Crawford's technique as we expose how his fanboys have no clue how to score boxing. A lot of boxing fans have no clue how to score boxing. That's why there's often controversy. That's why people don't like film studies. A lot of them anyway. Anyway, here's a video from a Crawford fanboy who, well, doesn't know what he's looking at. And if you knew nothing about Canelo or Crawford and your only idea of this upcoming fight came from his videos, you would plead and beg for Donald Trump to sign an executive order to stop this fight out of fear for Canelo's life. So Circus Music over here has a problem with CompuBox crediting Crawford with only 6 punches in the 3rd round, so he does his own punch count. We'll give him this jab that punches through Madrimov's guard and touches him a little bit. So besides that first jab, watching the rest of this in full speed, how many punches did you give to Crawford? 2 good ones and maybe a couple more touches? So we got that jab. Jab number 2. Madrimov slips this one, deflecting it with his shoulder, and it ends up grazing him with the palm to the side of the head. So not a scoring blow. The last that we see of this punch is Crawford's unfurled jab getting stuffed by Madrimov's guard. So you have to guess what happens next. And why would you score a punch that you can't see? You might as well be watching this fight with your eyes closed. Madrimov parries, deflecting a punch that grazes him with the small knuckles to the forehead more or less. Well counted, but stay tuned.
Madrimov is trying to do, and
Madrimov stuffs Crawford's weak jab with his guard. Does the leather of the glove touch his face? Yeah, sure, but this isn't clean or effective, and it has to be both. A scoring blow has to make visible impact, like snap the opponent's head back. You tell me if that's what happens here. That's a clean and effective uppercut. This is where you start hearing the impact of the punch, and it looks like it's gonna land on the guard, the elbows. It looks like it lifts Madrimov's guard and maybe grazes him to the body. Well counted, but let's not overrate it. I know he's not counting that right hook, right? I'm scoring this jab, but I want you to notice Terence Crawford's seemingly clenched fist at the point of impact, and notice what happens to his glove afterward. His hand seems to open up just a little bit, much like the left hand by his chin is open. I think the reason why a lot of his jabs are weak is because he's punching with the small knuckles, the front knuckles of the fist. Not the big knuckles you're supposed to punch with. The big knuckles that make big impact. That's why these jabs don't look or sound very powerful at all. As shown in my previous video, Terence Crawford's reach isn't what you think it is. His fingers are really long. So if he's able to punch literally with his fingers, then he has a reach advantage over someone like Madrimov. If he is to punch him with his fist, like you're supposed to punch, there's no reach advantage. He's in his wheelhouse. That's why he couldn't really put any hurt on Madrimov. He was afraid of getting hit back because he was getting off balance so much. Madrimov was punching with him. So Terence Crawford started throwing these get-off-me jabs with the small knuckles of the hand, effectively extending his reach, which is why a lot of these jabs didn't score. And this is why, in my opinion, Terence Crawford compromises the stitching on his gloves, because he wants to be able to open them up as much as possible, both for defense and offense. Good jab, but also partially blocked. How many punches did Terence land in this little highlight? 6 weak punches. You could probably count 7 if you close your eyes a couple of times. CompuBox was basically spot on, and I think the more important question here is, how do these weak ass punches, except for that one good uppercut, how do they compare to the mostly power punches that Madrimov was landing all night? And now he's mad because Crawford was credited with only 4 punches in the 9th round. So let's see.
stay consistent. This entire he's able to capitalize on that. Nice jabs from
Crawford. Watching this in real speed, I saw 3, maybe 4 very weak punches scoring. Small knuckles to the back of the head, shoulder area, no score. Slap on the neck. Madrimov pushes Crawford off balance and partially blocks this punch. That's where the sound comes from, and the punch ends up grazing his chin a little bit.
Stay consistent.
Nah, that didn't land. That hit his gloves and yeah, it touched his chin, but there was no impact. It's not clean or effective. That lands, but look at what knuckles he's punching with. His hand is open as wide as it can. That was a pretty good jab. That landed. Ouch! That looked like a thumb in the eye. No score. Blocked. No impact. That landed well through the guard. Absolutely not. But I like the clown music. On the belt line, scores. What did he land? 4 to 5 punches? So CompuBox was pretty spot on. What did Madrimov land?
It's Canelo Alvarez. Even a Jaime Munguia managed to sweep the first 3 rounds. Nice jab again by Larry Mosley. Managed to sweep the first 3.
So as we all know, Canelo likes to slip jabs. Did he get touched there by the leather of the glove? Yeah, probably. Did it make impact? Absolutely not. These aren't scoring blows, but this guy has no clue how to score a fight, and unfortunately, most boxing fans don't. So if this fight goes the distance, if Canelo decides to carry Crawford, or Crawford somehow able to survive, even if Canelo wins clearly, and I'm not saying he does, I think he does, but we'll see. You're gonna see scores of Terence Crawford fanboys talking about how he schooled them, how he got robbed, and all these other things. And that's the reason why we so often have controversy in boxing these days. People just don't know how to score fights.
Now, what this fight also highlights is how you have to score a Canelo fight, why you have to validate and justify a Canelo Alvarez fight. It's never based on true boxing criteria. It's about effort and output. Again, he doesn't even have to land scoring blows and things like that. But it's Larry Mosley that's actually landing the clean punching. You understand? Neither guy's punch is really landing. A little bit more busier. He's 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 actually landing more clean punches. But as you see right there, he just got countered big. A little bit more busier. He's a little bit more busier. He's a little bit more busier. As you see right there, he just got countered big. Now, what this fight also highlights is how you have to score a Canelo fight, why you have to validate and justify a Canelo Alvarez fight. It's never based on true boxing criteria. It's about effort and output. He just has to, although he'll land impact and non-scoring areas, they give him credit just for essentially coming forward and throwing punches. Again, he doesn't even have to land scoring blows and things like that.